Hello and welcome to the Quality Improvement Program for the Mains Examination of 2020. And in this discussion, we have taken up an important theme and a question based on that from our mains examination point of view. And that will again fall in the International Relations in the General Studies paper 2. So in this session, we will look at the importance of that question and why is this theme important for the mains examination of 2020. Also, we'll try to decode the question and try and improve our answer writing skills. And finally, we'll look at a sample answer related to this question. So the question reads, the UN Security Council risks losing legitimacy unless it reforms and expands its membership. In the light of this statement, highlight the need for reforming the UN Security Council and also evaluate the case for India's candidature for the permanent seat in the UNSC. So as far as the syllabus is concerned, it will fall in the General Studies paper 2 in the International Relations, and in that it will form a part of the important global groupings and agreements. Now if you look at the previous year question papers, you will find that in the year 2019 a question was asked related to another important body of the UN, that is UNESCO. And the question read, too little cash, too much politics leaves UNESCO fighting for life. And on the Israel-Palestine issue, the United States of America had withdrawn from the UNESCO. So the question reads, discuss the statement in the light of US's withdrawal and its accusation of the cultural body as being anti-Israel bias. Secondly, the question that was asked in 2018 reads, what are the key areas of reform if the WTO must survive in the present context of trade war, especially keeping in mind the interests of India? And here again, United States of America had been blocking the appointment of the members to the appellate body of the WTO. So we see that important international institutions and agreements, if they are facing certain issues, they become important for us from the exam point of view. And in this background, this issue of permanent membership of India at the UN Security Council and also reform in the UN Security Council has come up because of India's election as a non-permanent member to the UNSC. So this question basically focuses on the long-awaited reforms which are required in the UNSC. And why India should get a permanent seat in the UNSC is also an important aspect of this question. And we note that India scored a major diplomatic victory to enter the non-permanent category of the UNSC. And in the elections, India won 184 votes out of the 192 valid votes that were cast. And this is the 8th time India has been elected as a non-permanent member of the UN Security Council. And that is why this issue of reform of UNSC and India's candidature for the permanent seat are important for us from the mains examination point of view. Now to learn this topic, you can always go through the DNS. And this issue has been covered on 19th June and 6th June 2020 in detail. And these DNS videos are available on our eLearn platform. Again, you can go through the Focus magazine of June 2020, where the issue of UNSC reforms has been discussed in detail. So now let's do the decoding of this question. So first, try and read the question multiple times so that you have a clarity on the requirement of the question. After that, you should always identify keywords and subparts. So as far as the keywords are involved, the UN Security Council itself is a keyword and its reform and expansion is another keyword. And finally, the other important keyword is the permanent seat in the UNSC. And as far as the subparts are concerned, the need for reforming UNSC is one part and also India's candidature for the permanent seat is another part. So you should focus on both these aspects and try and balance in the requirement of the question. As far as the question tags are concerned, it also requires us to highlight the need for reforming. So by highlighting, you need to direct the attention to something very important. So here we note that the reform of UNSC Council is important, and that is why we have been asked to highlight or draw attention towards this reform of UNSC. Secondly, we are required to evaluate the case for India's candidature for the permanent seat in UNSC. So evaluation basically means to judge the value or importance of something. And here we are trying to judge the case of India for its candidature for the permanent seat in the United Nations Security Council. So after looking at the keywords, subparts and the question tags, let us take up a structure for this answer. So in this, we should always try to answer in three parts, that is introduction, body and conclusion. In the introduction part, you can focus on the debate for reforming the UNSC. And in the body part, you can focus on the need for reform and India's case for permanent membership. And in the conclusion part, you can focus on the G4 grouping on UNSC reform, whose India is also a member. So after this, let us look at a sample answer for this question. So in the introduction part, as we have said that we should highlight the debate. So as India was recently elected as the non-permanent member of the UNSC, and hence the debate for the reform of council has again resurfaced. So although the debate for the UNSC reform has been going on for a long time, but it has resurfaced again because of India's election as a non-permanent member of the UNSC. So after introducing about the debate of the UNSC reforms, let us look at the need for the reforming of UNSC. And this will focus on the first part of the question, that is highlight the need for reforming the UNSC. So first issue is related to the permanent membership issues. And it is said that largely the permanent membership of the UNSC has remained unchanged since its inception in 1945. And the only country which was added after 1945 was China. So we can see that there has not been efforts to expand the UNSC permanent membership, and also there have been no efforts to make it more representative and accountable. For the regional powers like Germany, India and Brazil have no place in the permanent membership of UNSC. And also there is no representation of Africa and Southern America, which are two important continents. So the first point of reform of UNSC is the reform of permanent membership of the UN Security Council. And in this we have highlighted these three important issues, that is it has largely remained unchanged. Also regional powers like India and Germany do not have a place, and also two important continents do not find a representation in the permanent membership. Second important issue with the UNSC is the veto power, and this veto power tilts the balance towards the victors of World War II. And we note that United States of America, United Kingdom, France and Russia all are the victors of World War II. And these countries which are the permanent members are known as the P5 nations. So any action which stands inimical to the interest of these permanent 5 members gets stalled in the UNSC. And this is because of the veto power that is exercised by these P5 nations, which are the United States of America, United Kingdom, France, Russia and China. So we can cite an example here that no action has been taken against Israel so far in the UNSC, and that has been mainly because of the support of United States of America and the veto against any such resolution. Further, the UN Security Council has also failed in its mandate to maintain international peace and security. And this has been seen in the civil wars that happened in Somalia, Rwanda and Bosnia. And also, UNSC has not been successful in preventing unilateral actions by the P5 members like the United States of America and the USSR. For example, USA unilaterally intervened in the Iraq in 2003. And also the United States of America on the behalf of NATO intervened in the Kosovo on the grounds of humanitarian crisis. However, that action did not have the approval of the UN Security Council. Again, we have seen that Russia had annexed the Crimean Peninsula. And this move of Russia also did not have the approval of the UNSC. So these instances show that the United Nations Security Council has failed to maintain international peace and security. So regarding the need for reforming UNSC, we have highlighted 3 important issues. After this, let us try and address the second part and evaluate the case for India's candidature for the permanent seat in the UNSC. So the case for India's permanent membership is based on following reasons. The first reason is the population of India, because Indian population represents 1/6 of the global population, and as such, India's position in the permanent membership is justified in UNSC. Further, India's democratic credentials make it well suited to be a permanent member of the UN Security Council. As far as India's economic power is concerned, India is world's fifth largest economy and third largest economy in terms of purchasing power parity as of 2020. Regarding the military power, India has been a responsible nuclear power and has the third largest military spending after China and the United States of America. As far as the contributions to United Nations are concerned, India is one of the largest contributors to the UN peacekeeping operations. And in this, nearly 180,000 troops have served in 44 peacekeeping missions. Also, India is one of the highest financial contributors to the United Nations, and it has been actively participating in the global affairs and has been taking lead roles in the matters which are global, for example, the climate change, ozone depletion, counter-terrorism, and also rule-based global order. So, India's claim for the permanent membership is based on its rising military and economic might, and also based on responsible credentials like the Indian democratic credentials, and also as India has been a responsible nuclear power and has been taking active participation in the global affairs. And as such, India's case for the permanent membership seems to be justified in the UNSC. So after looking at the introduction and the body part, you can conclude by saying that so it is time that the arrival of India be duly recognized along with the G4 countries by rewarding these nations with permanent membership of UNSC. And this will not only make the UNSC more inclusive, but will also add to much needed moral compass. So after looking at the sample answer, let us look at the important review points in this answer. First is the answer relevancy, where you should try to address the requirement or the demand of the question. Again, the second part is the answer enrichment points, and in that you should use standard vocabulary and also important examples. For example, we have used the example of P5 nations. We have substantiated with proper examples like the case of Kosovo or intervention in Iraq, and also the Crimean annexation. And finally, we have talked about the G4 grouping in the conclusion part. So we have taken care of examples in substantiating our claims. As far as the presentation is concerned, we have used the standard structure of introduction, body and conclusion, and also have made use of headings and subheadings. And finally, the language and the grammar has been kept simple so that there are minimum grammatical errors. And the word limit again is 279 words.